As the dawn breaks over the Northern Territory, we unveil the rich tapestry of Litchfield Minerals' Mount Doreen tenement, a cornerstone in the quest for critical minerals essential for powering clean energy technologies.
The reason why we're looking at Mount Doreen specifically right now is because it's a polymetallic mineral-rich deposit across 5 or 6 areas. It's part of the West Arunta complex, which is increasingly being recognised as a very rich mineral province for copper, rare earths, uranium and gold, and there's a lot of majors moving into that area. We're going to focus on 3 major minerals. That's copper as our primary, tungsten, and then uranium.
Strategically nestled among giants, Mount Doreen emerges as a beacon for mining companies, marking the region's ascent as a crucible for mineral exploration.
Newmont's Tanami goldfields are just up there, very large tonnage, very large ounces, very high grade. Then you've got Tanami Gold. You've also got a lot of the uranium explorers that are basically adjacent to all of our tenements, such as Energy Metals. They're one of 3 or 4 export licenses for uranium in the country. You've got Eclipse, you've got Sabre. Then further to the west, about 40, 50 kilometres, you've got IGO. They've pegged pretty much everything. About 60 kilometres to the west of us, you've got Rio Tinto. They've just picked an enormous tenement, 800 square kilometres as well. So people are moving into this area because it's becoming one of those hotspots. And as I mentioned before, the West Arunta complex is becoming very recognised because a company called WA1 out of Western Australia on the Western Australian side of the border, on the same complex, on the same geological system, have found, huge intersections of very high-grade niobium. So there's this big rare earths rush in this region at the moment.
Veiled beneath the rugged landscape of Mount Doreen lie untapped realms, each promising a unique bounty of mineral wealth poised for discovery.
You've got Mount Irene, you've got Silver King, and you've got Wolfram Hill. All have different sort of characteristics, all have different sort of minerals. However, some are more connected than others. The reason why I like Silver King is it's a polymetallic deposit. However, unlike some of our next door neighbours, ours has a lot more copper in it, and then it's got a lot of lead in it, and then it's got a lot of silver. And when I say a lot of silver, some of our historical assays are past the 1,000 grams per tonne silver. So it's a very rich system. There appears to be massive sulfide chunks at surface as well, which looks like they've come out of the old stopes, which is quite interesting because there's this big oxidised zone at surface, but then it looks like they were chasing this massive sulfide body below. You've got this 100 metre long by 100 metre wide by 100 metre deep surface anomaly, and it outcrops at the top, and the IP shows that that's a big surface pipe. Historically, there was an intercept of 32 metres at 1.8% CuEq. So we know the ore is there. Now it's about getting some really good intercepts. Then lower down, starting at about 200, you've got this big system. We're not sure what the system is, but the IP has definitely picked it up to be this big chargeable zone, which looks like an intrusive body because it's perfectly shaped. And then you've got these sedimentary chargeabilities that sit and sort of wrap around it on top for the first sort of 200. So I really like the Silver King system. We've got 8 drill holes planned there, and we should gauge a lot of information from that.
While the world's hunger for copper grows unbated, Mount Doreen transcends the copper narrative, tapping into the burgeoning sectors of uranium and other critical minerals, key players in the march towards a sustainable energy paradigm.
The reason why we're going to focus on uranium is we've got a lot of uranium explorers behind us, but there's a series of granites behind Silver King, funnily enough, that are 8 kilometres long. Rio Tinto found some huge hotspots there when they did some geophysical stuff over the property in the 90s, and the highest grab sample they got was 0.25% uranium from those granites, and that's extremely rich. So we have Big Greeley and Eclipse next to us, and that's Energy Metals deposit. Basically, the uranium that's come from our granites may have actually transported and fed their sandstones a long time ago. So we need to investigate these granites because they could be alaskites. And alaskites are, lowish grade uranium, but very cheap to process, very cheap to mine, and that's where a lot of uranium comes out of, especially out of Africa.
Beneath the tenement's vast expanses, whispers of critical minerals near the surface beckon for further exploration, heralding a new chapter of possibilities.
The next one I'll talk about is Mount Irene. So Mount Irene isn't too far away from Silver King. It's probably 10 kilometres as the crow flies to the northeast of it. The reason I like Mount Irene is because 250 metre long mineralised veins that are very rich. There's gold in it, there's copper in it. and it's basically exclusively copper. You have a little bit of lead, a little bit of zinc, and even some vanadium, it looks like. So what I wanted to do was some gradient induced polarization over the area to find out what was going on and was there a feeder system. The first half of the campaign, nothing. The last half of the campaign, the last 2 lines, we got this huge chargeability zone. And the chargeability zone it looks like it connects to the 2 reefs that surface. And when you look at that chargeability zone, it looks like it's about 300 meters wide by about 300 long. And it starts at about 60 meters below, but it's about 350 meters away from the actual outcrop mineralizations.
The revelation of Wolfram Hill's geological wonders not only underscores Mount Doreen's potential, but also ignites the flame of exploration, promising a future rich in critical mineral discoveries.
Wolfram Hill is interesting. So Wolfram Hill is 2 prominent hills that stick out on the side of the road. When you measure both hills together, they're 1.3 kilometers long by about 350 wide and 180 to 200 high. Doesn't look like much on a map, but when you get out there, you're like, wow, this is big. And then you've got a series of pegmatite or quartz veins that are coming up at surface. They appear to me to be anticlinal syncline, where they go up and down like that, and you can only see the tops of them, but you can't see the bottoms of them. And we don't know what's feeding it. Right now we have a double APA working on it to clear it. However, that's very high-grade copper, high-grade lead. Some very esoteric minerals are there. As I said, you don't normally find native bismuth in such high quantities because it's as rare as gold and silver. We're getting up to 8,000 ppm, which would be the equivalent to 8,000 grams per tonne gold, native bismuth within our reefs. I think it sells for about 60,000 a tonne. That's about 0.8% bismuth, and that's incredibly rare. And bismuth tells you a lot about systems, and so does fluorite. And we've got bismuth and fluorite, and that's really encouraging because when you get fluorine, bismuth, copper, well, those are all hydrothermal type of minerals that come up in big granite systems or IOCGs. So, look, I'm not saying we have one, but we've definitely got the right mineral mix. It's very encouraging, and I'm quite excited to finally work out what's happening there.
In the heart of the Northern Territory, Litchfield Minerals' Mount Doreen tenement stands not just as a land of opportunity, but as a testament to the enduring quest for resources that will fuel a cleaner, brighter future for all. If you'd like to learn more about the Litchfield Minerals IPO, download our prospectus today.